There's so many guests that I could just bring up in this moment.
Right.
That would take up the entire time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I think one of the most impressionable guests you've had, there was only one in a special recommendation, but I could hear that I'm thinking of, but I could hear there was an interesting tone difference in your writing.
Really?
About George Foreman.
Wow.
And it seemed that there was this celestial respect of his ability to be, adaptable in a situation, both in sports and business, and as, a person of interest.
Yeah, well, you're very perceptive, because I think with George, we had a lot in common, not in fighting, but in life.
Right.
He had quit. He had won a heavyweight championship, and then he quit.
Yeah.
Because he was getting older. And he said he had 7 kids and the money was running out. So he decided maybe I should go back and fight, make some more money. But at that time, he was just like I was. He was like 40 years old.
Yeah.
So he said he started from the bottom, like I did as a sound man. Right. He started fighting the lowly guys in the heavyweight division, and he worked his way up. But he said, you always can reinvent yourself. There's always another chapter. Age should never be a determining factor in your dreams and your goals.
Right.
And it wasn't for him, and I don't think it was for me. So we had a lot in common there. And then we talked about the George Foreman grill. Mm-hmm. And he said, they asked him, some company, they wanted him to use his name on the grill. He said, well, what do I get? And they said, well, George, what do you want? He said, well, I have 7 sons named George. Mm-hmm. Can I get a grill for each of them? And he said, Vicky, I seriously didn't think I was going to make much money from this thing. And 3 months later, I got a check for $250,000.
That's incredible.
He says, I was shocked. I thought I was just going to get the 7 grills.
Right. He's like, I should have asked for more.
I don't know if he was pulling my leg or not, So George Foreman, and he also shared something with me. You always hope when you're interviewing someone that they'll give you something maybe nobody else has.
Right.
That's always an ultimate goal during an interview.
Of course.
And he said to me, during the rumble in the jungle with Muhammad Ali, I truly believe I was drugged during that fight, because he was a heavy favorite going in. You knew that, right?
Yeah. He believes that?
He believes that. He believes, because he said he didn't feel right, and he said he thought somebody put something in his water. Oh. One of his handlers, he felt they bought them off, and they threw some kind of drug or hallucinant into his water. And he said, Muhammad Ali said, I hit him with everything I had, and he kept saying to me, is that all you have, George?
Wow.
And he said, but he did beat me fair and square.
Right.
But he says, I do feel that I was drugged.
Wow. That's fairly common in boxing. Yes. Boxing is a pretty dirty sport, right? Yes. You have some, I believe it was 2 Mexican fighters, I'm drawing a blank on their name. Yeah. One had concrete in his glove.
Well, there you go.
Right? Yeah. So every time he got hit, it was being hit with a brick.
Right.
So, that wouldn't surprise me, especially in that era where they didn't have as stringent of rules on how to tape.
Absolutely. And he reinvented himself from being the most hated man, the bad guy in boxing, to the most loved.
Right. And trusted. He's like Ronald Reagan of athletes, right? Yeah. He all of a sudden started working with products, and everyone's like, I'll buy a GM.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Inventor, whatever. He did them all, really. Midas mufflers. But he reinvented himself into this lovable guy.
Yeah.
And he won. He came back and won the championship over Michael Moore in Las Vegas at, I think, 42 years old, something like that.
Right.
Yeah. What a nice guy. I loved him. And afterwards, he stayed with signed autographs, took pictures for like 40 minutes.
Wow, that's amazing.
Super guy.